Kyle had fought in many wars before, but this one felt different from the start. The Empire had told him that humans were weak. They said humans were loud, emotional, and easy to break. Their worlds were soft. Their bodies were fragile. Their minds were ruled by fear. Kale believed this, because the Empire had never been wrong before. Kale stood inside a troop carrier as it moved through space toward a blue and brown planet. The humans called it Carson Minor. It was not their home world, only a border colony. The Empire wanted it taken in one clean strike. The order was simple: land, destroy resistance. Around Kale, other soldiers checked their weapons in silence. Their armor was thick and smooth, built for heavy combat. Kale felt calm. He had trained for this his whole life. Humans were not supposed to be a challenge. When the carrier entered the planet's atmosphere, the ship began to shake. Heat burned along the hull. Kale tightened his grip on his rifle. The lights inside the carrier turned red. Then something unexpected happened. The carrier was hit. The impact threw Kale against the wall. Alarms screamed. One of the soldiers fell hard and did not get up. The pilot shouted that human ground cannons were active. Kale felt surprise run through him. The Empire reports said the colony had weak defenses. The carrier crashed into the surface with a loud scream of metal. The doors blew open, and smoke filled the air. Kale stumbled outside, his vision blurred. The sky above was dark with clouds and fire. Explosions shook the ground in the distance. Humans were already firing. Energy shots cut through the air. Kale raised his rifle and returned fire. He expected humans to run when they saw the Empire soldiers. Instead, they held their ground. Kale saw them clearly now. Humans were smaller than him. Their armor was lighter and damaged. Some wore patched uniforms, yet they moved fast. They used cover. They shouted warnings to each other. A human officer stood on a broken wall ahead. His name tag read Ethan Cole. Kale did not know his name then, but he noticed the way the human moved. Ethan Cole pointed forward and shouted orders. His voice stayed steady, even as fire rained around him. One human near Ethan fell, hit in the leg. Another human ran out to pull him back, even while shots flew past. Kale felt confusion. The Empire taught that humans abandoned the weak. Kale fired again and again. Humans fell, but others took their place. They did not charge blindly. They did not scream in panic. They fought with care and anger, mixed together. The battle dragged on longer than expected. Smoke filled the air. The ground was torn apart by blasts. Kale's unit pushed forward slowly, losing soldiers along the way. Then Kyle saw something that stayed in his mind. A human medic crawled across open ground toward a wounded soldier. Her armor was marked with a red symbol. Her name tag read Lisa Brown. She was unarmed. Shots struck the ground around her, but she did not stop. She reached the wounded human and dragged him back behind cover. Kale hesitated. For a moment, he did not fire. The Empire training had never prepared him for this. Humans were supposed to protect themselves first. Yet this human risked her life without hesitation. The fight continued until night fell. The humans slowly pulled back into the ruins of a city. The Empire forces secured the outer area, but at a heavy cost. Kale looked around at the fallen soldiers. Too many were gone. This was not supposed to happen. As the battlefield grew quiet, Kale sat behind cover and checked his weapon. His armor was scratched and cracked. He felt tired, more tired than usual. Across the ruined street, human voices could still be heard. They were talking, not crying. Some laughed softly. Kale listened, confused. The humans were still there, still alive, still fighting. Later, the Empire Command sent new orders. The city would be taken at dawn. Humans were to be wiped out fully. Kale did not feel victory. He felt something heavy in his chest. At first light, the fighting began again. This time, humans attacked first. Explosions tore through Empire lines. Human vehicles rushed forward, firing everything they had. Kale rolled aside as debris fell. He returned fire, his training taking over. He saw Ethan Cole again. The human officer was injured now, blood on his arm. But he still led from the front. He pulled a wounded soldier to safety, with one hand, while firing with the other. Kyle felt a strange respect forming. He pushed it away and focused on the fight. Then an explosion knocked Kale off his feet. Pain burned through his side. His armor had cracked open. He tried to stand but failed. His vision blurred. He expected death. Instead, a human stood over him. It was Lisa Brown. She looked at him with wide eyes. For a moment, Kale thought she would finish him. Instead, she hesitated. Then she turned and shouted for help, calling for another medic. Kale did not understand. He was the enemy. Before anyone arrived, another blast hit nearby. Lisa grabbed Kale and dragged him behind cover. Her face was pale with fear, but her hands did not shake. She treated his wound quickly, using tools meant for humans. It hurt, but it worked enough to stop the bleeding. She looked at him one last time, then ran back into the smoke. Kyle lay there in shock. Why had she saved him? The battle ended hours later. Both sides pulled back again, broken and exhausted. The Empire did not take the city. As Kale was evacuated, he stared at the sky. He thought of the Empire stories, of weak humans, of easy victories. None of it matched what he had seen. Humans fought while afraid. They saved each other, instead of running. They stood their ground even when logic said retreat. Kale closed his eyes as the transport lifted him away from the battlefield. For the first time in his life, he wondered if the Empire had been wrong. And deep inside, a quiet thought formed. If humans fought like this for a small colony, what would they do for something they truly loved? The answer unsettled him more than any weapon ever had. Kale woke in a small medical room. The humans had taken him prisoner, but he was alive. His side still ached where Lisa Brown had treated him. He had expected anger, or chains, or pain. Instead, he was watched carefully. Not with hate, but with curiosity. He could see the humans moving around outside the room. Soldiers cleaned weapons, patched armor, and moved supplies. Their voices were calm. Even after fighting all day and losing comrades, they did not yell or scream. Kale noticed how they helped each other, sharing water and food, checking on the wounded. A young human, Noah Turner, came into the room. He looked no older than 25, with dark hair and quick eyes. "You'll live," he said simply. "Rest. Don't move too fast." Kale studied him. Noah was not afraid. Not of him. Not of the fact that Kale had been part of the force that destroyed so many of their defenses. That was strange. Kale had fought thousands of enemies. Most would have hated him. But Noah treated him like he was just another soldier, injured in the fight. Later, Kale was taken outside. The city was in ruins. Broken buildings, smoke, and scorched ground stretched for miles. Humans were working tirelessly to repair their defenses. Ethan Cole stood on a mound of rubble, speaking to a group of soldiers. Kale noticed he was giving calm instructions, even after the heavy losses. He did not panic. "Spread out," Ethan said. "Cover the supply line. Watch for ambushes. Help anyone who is hurt." Kale followed the group assigned to him. Humans around him were wary but not hostile. One soldier, Emma White, walked beside him. Her armor was scratched and dusty. She did not speak much, but Kale noticed her sharp eyes and careful movements. She watched for danger while keeping the team together. The humans led Kale to a small command post, hidden in a ruined building. Inside, maps and data screens glowed. A few humans moved quickly, sending messages and planning strategies. Kyle realized they were still thinking ahead, still preparing. Even after losing so many soldiers, they were not defeated. "You'll fight with us," Ethan said to Kale. His voice was calm, but there was no question in it. Kale froze. Fight? With humans? He wanted to refuse, but Ethan did not give him a choice. The enemy could strike at any time, and every soldier mattered. The next day, the humans moved out to meet a new wave of attackers. Kale followed them, watching carefully. Humans fought differently from the Empire soldiers. They used cover, teamwork, and quick thinking. They did not rely on heavy weapons alone. When a human fell, another would drag him to safety. They protected each other, even under heavy fire. During a battle in a narrow street, Kale saw Emma White risk her life to pull two wounded soldiers to safety. She ran across open ground, dodging shots, and dragged the first one behind a wall. Then she ran back for the second. Kale felt a strange weight in his chest. Humans were not predictable. They were not weak. They were fearless, but not reckless. They acted with purpose. Kale had a chance to attack Emma while she moved. The Empire training told him to strike. Weak humans were easy targets. But he did not. Something inside him stopped the rifle from moving. He could not shoot. Later, Noah Turner approached him. "I know you are not human," he said quietly. "But you are here now. We need you. Do you want to survive?" Kale nodded slowly. He did not trust Noah fully, but he also knew that refusing was foolish. He had learned humans were not like other species he had fought. Fighting alongside them might be the only way to live. The humans led him through the ruins to a small, safe area. Ethan Cole gathered the soldiers. "We may face another wave soon," he said. "Everyone must be ready. Watch each other, cover each other, and remember why we fight." Kale listened. He realized the speech was simple, but it carried power. Humans fought not for honor, not for conquest, but for each other. That made them dangerous. That made them unstoppable. During the next fight, Kale moved beside a human soldier named Liam Brooks. Liam was quick and alert. He shouted warnings when enemy fire came too close, and helped Kale when Kale stumbled over rubble. Kyle had trained for war, but he had never depended on anyone like this. Humans relied on each other. That was their strength. A larger battle came at dusk. The enemy had heavy armor and powerful weapons. Kale expected humans to break and flee. Instead, they held the streets. Humans set traps, used their knowledge of the ruins, and fought in small groups that covered each other. Ethan Cole led from the front, shouting orders and helping wherever needed. Kale saw something he could not forget. A human soldier stayed behind to hold a narrow alley so others could escape. Explosions shook the ground around him. Kale watched as the soldier fired until his weapon overheated, then fought with bare hands until another human came to pull him back. Kale felt a rush of fear and respect. Humans did not run from danger. They stood in it. After the battle, Kale helped the humans treat the wounded. Lisa Brown moved from soldier to soldier, her hands steady. Kale saw the same determination in Noah Turner, Emma White, and many others. They did not complain. They did not panic. They acted. At night, Kale sat alone outside the command post. The city was quiet, but he could hear distant fires and small skirmishes. He thought about the humans he had seen today. He thought about the medic, the soldiers who risked themselves, the officer who led without fear. They were not invincible, but they were something stronger. Kale realized he was learning from them. He was learning courage. He was learning that fear did not mean weakness. Humans acted despite it. That was why they survived, and why the Empire could not easily crush them. He closed his eyes and thought about the next battle. He would fight beside humans, not against them. He did not yet understand fully, but he felt it in his chest. Humans were dangerous because they were unpredictable, fearless, and willing to risk everything for each other. For the first time in his life, Kale wondered what it meant to fight with honor, with loyalty, and with purpose beyond victory. The humans had not yet won, but Kale knew one thing: if they stood together, nothing would stop them. And the Empire, no matter how strong, would soon understand why humans were feared across the stars. The morning air was cold and dry. Kale woke to the sound of humans moving outside. They were already preparing for battle again. He felt the ache in his side from old wounds but forced himself to stand. Today, he would fight with them. Ethan Cole appeared first, checking every soldier. His eyes moved fast, noting who was ready and who was not. "Stay close to each other," he said. "Watch your corners. Move together. Protect each other." His voice was calm but firm. Kale listened carefully. He had seen humans lead before, but now he felt the meaning behind the words. Noah Turner came to Kale, carrying a bag of supplies. "We are heading to the eastern sector," he said. "Enemy armor is moving fast. They will try to cut us off." Kale nodded. He understood the importance of the mission. Humans thought ahead. They planned for survival, not just attack. The humans moved through the ruins in small groups. Kale walked beside Emma White, keeping his rifle ready. She scanned every alley, every corner. She whispered instructions quietly to other soldiers, guiding them like a shepherd with a flock. Kale had fought in countless wars, but he had never seen soldiers act with this kind of calm focus under danger. Suddenly, the ground shook. Explosions rang out in the distance. Enemy forces had arrived faster than expected. Heavy machines and armored vehicles rolled toward the city. Kale's heart pounded. He expected humans to panic. Instead, he saw them move with speed and control. Ethan Cole shouted orders. Humans scattered into defensive positions, using ruins for cover. Some climbed broken buildings. Others set traps in the streets. Kale saw them work as a single unit, almost like one mind controlling many bodies. Kale was assigned with a small group to protect a supply line. As they moved, enemy fire rained down. Kale fired his weapon constantly, but humans were all around him, covering his sides. Noah Turner shouted directions, telling him when to advance and when to fall back. Kale noticed something he had never felt before: trust. Humans trusted each other completely. Suddenly, a human soldier fell, hit by enemy fire. Without hesitation, Emma White ran across open ground to pull him to safety. Kale felt fear rise inside him, but he could not stop her. She reached the soldier, lifted him onto her shoulders, and ran back behind cover. Kale realized that humans had no limit to what they would risk for each other. As the fight continued, Kale saw the enemy advancing with heavy weapons. Some humans were injured, but they did not give up. Ethan Cole led a group through a narrow alley, flanking the enemy. Kale watched as humans combined simple tools, old weapons, and clever tactics to slow the armored vehicles. Rocks, wires, and fire traps destroyed parts of the enemy machinery. Kale had never seen such creativity in war. A huge explosion shook the alley. Kale fell, hitting the ground hard. Smoke filled his eyes. He tried to stand, but pain shot through his side. He thought he would die here. But then he saw her Lisa Brown running toward him with a small first aid pack. She treated him quickly, using techniques Kale had never seen before. Every movement was precise. She saved him. Again. Kale began to understand the truth. Humans did not fight for glory. They did not fight for empire or gods. They fought for each other, for the wounded, for the weak, for the friends they would not abandon. That was their strength. That was why they could survive even when outnumbered and outgunned. The battle dragged on all day. Kale moved from point to point, fighting beside humans. He covered Noah Turner when enemy fire came too close. He helped Emma White drag another soldier to safety. He even saw Ethan Cole climb onto an enemy machine to destroy it from above, risking his life but never hesitating. By evening, both sides were exhausted. The humans had not won completely, but they had held their positions. Kale sat behind a broken wall, watching the remaining enemy forces retreat. He felt a strange mix of awe and fear. Humans had survived against impossible odds. They had not panicked, not fled, not surrendered. Noah Turner came to Kale again. "You see now," he said quietly, "this is how we fight. Not for victory alone, but for each other." Kale nodded slowly. He could not speak. Words felt too small to explain what he was feeling. Night fell, but Kale could not rest. He watched the humans as they worked through injuries, repaired weapons, and planned for the next day. They did not complain. They shared what little food they had. They laughed quietly, telling jokes even after losing so much. Kale realized that humans had a kind of energy he had never felt before: hope. Determined hope that nothing could take away. The next day, the enemy returned in larger numbers. Kale fought harder than ever. He moved with the humans, covering their backs, trusting their instincts. During the heaviest attack, a human soldier named Lucy Grant stayed behind to hold a barricade while others escaped. She fired until her weapon broke, then fought with her hands until another human dragged her to safety. Kale felt respect and fear at the same time. Humans could survive the impossible. By midday, Kale was badly injured again, but he refused to fall back. Lisa Brown appeared once more, treating him quickly. He could see the exhaustion on her face, but she did not complain. She worked as if nothing mattered but saving him. Kale realized that humans had an inner strength that went beyond physical power. They were fearless in the ways that truly mattered. Finally, as the sun began to set, the enemy retreated again. The humans had held their city, but barely. Kale looked around at the ruined streets, at the wounded soldiers, at Ethan Cole standing tall despite fatigue. He understood now why humans were dangerous. Not because they were strong, but because they were unstoppable in spirit. Kale sat in silence that night, thinking about everything he had seen. Humans fought for reasons Kale had never known. They risked themselves to save others, planned and adapted, and refused to surrender. They were not predictable, and that unpredictability made them deadly. He thought of the Empire. With its perfect training and strict rules, they had armies, weapons, and numbers. But they had never seen humans like this. Humans were more than soldiers. They were a force of will, of hope, of loyalty. Kale closed his eyes and felt a strange feeling growing inside him. He no longer wanted to fight against humans. He wanted to fight with them. He wanted to be part of their strength, to learn from it, to survive because of it. For the first time, Kale understood the truth behind the old stories. Even the gods trembled at humans. Not because humans were perfect, but because they refused to give up. No matter the odds. No matter the fear. No matter the pain. And Kale knew that he would never forget this lesson. Tomorrow, the enemy would return. They always did. But Kale was no longer afraid. He would fight beside humans, and he would survive. Because humans were not just fighters. They were something more. Something unstoppable. The sun rose slowly over the ruined city. Kale stretched, feeling every ache in his body. He had fought with humans for many days now. He had seen bravery, fear, pain, and hope all mixed together. He had learned more than he ever could have imagined. Ethan Cole called the soldiers together. "Today," he said, "we hold this city. We push the enemy back. We do not give up. We protect each other. That is why we fight." Kale felt the power in those words. He understood it now. Humans did not fight for themselves alone. They fought for each other, for their friends, for the weak, for the lives they could save. Cale joined his unit, standing beside Noah Turner and Emma White. Lisa Brown moved among them, ready to help anyone injured. Cale looked around and saw the determination on every human face. They were tired, hurt, but their will was stronger than ever. The enemy appeared first, moving fast and in heavy numbers. Cale's heart pounded. He could see massive armored machines rolling toward the city. They fired energy blasts that shattered walls and sent debris flying. Cale gripped his rifle tightly. He had trained for this, but humans had taught him something he had never known. Courage could be stronger than armor. Ethan shouted, "Spread out! Use cover! Watch each other!" Humans moved as one. They did not panic. They used the broken streets, the rubble, and the ruined buildings to their advantage. Cale fired beside them, covering Noah and Emma as they advanced. He realized he trusted them completely. A group of enemy soldiers charged a narrow alley. Cale saw a human soldier, Lucy Grant, step forward alone to hold them back. She fired until her weapon overheated, then threw herself at the enemy with a heavy pipe, striking them down. Cale could hardly believe it. Humans risked everything for each other, even their lives. Cale found himself running into battle without thinking. He helped Emma pull a wounded soldier to safety. He fired at enemies coming from the rooftops. He moved as part of a team, not alone. Each human around him acted with purpose. Each human inspired another. Noah Turner shouted, "Cale, cover our left. Ethan, take the high ground." The humans worked like one body. Cale realized that this was their true strength: trust, teamwork, and a will that would not break. Suddenly, a massive blast threw Cale to the ground. Smoke and dust filled the air. He struggled to stand. His side burned, where he had been injured before. He looked up and saw Lisa Brown rushing toward him, dodging shots as she went. She reached him, dragged him behind cover, and treated him quickly. Her hands were steady, her eyes focused. Cale understood fully now. Humans fought not only with weapons, but with their hearts. The battle continued for hours. Cale fired, dodged, and ran with humans at his side. Emma White climbed a ruined building to take out an enemy turret. Noah Turner and others set traps in the streets to stop armored vehicles. Ethan Cole led charges, saving soldiers, and destroying key enemy positions. Cale noticed something new. Humans did not fight for power. They did not fight for glory. They fought for each other, for survival, and for hope. Every action, every risk, every choice was for someone else. That made them unstoppable. As the sun set, the humans launched their final counterattack. Cale moved forward with them. They ran through alleys, leaped over rubble, and used every trick to confuse the enemy. Cale fired his rifle, helped a human soldier over debris, and even used a destroyed weapon as a club when needed. He fought with everything he had. Ethan Cole led the final charge against the enemy's command machine. It was massive, firing energy blasts that could destroy buildings in seconds. Ethan shouted, "Push forward! Do not stop!" Cale ran beside him. Noah, Turner, and Emma White followed. Lisa Brown stayed close, tending the wounded along the way. Humans surrounded the machine, attacking from every side. Cale saw Ethan climb the machine, smash its controls, and destroy it from the top. The explosion threw Cale to the ground, but he got up and ran forward again. The enemy finally began to retreat. Cale watched as the surviving forces fled into the distance. Humans had held the city. They had survived impossible odds. They were hurt, exhausted, and bloodied, but they were victorious. Cale looked around at the humans he had fought beside. Noah Turner was smiling despite scratches on his face. Emma White laughed softly, as she helped another soldier stand. Lisa Brown moved quickly, treating injuries without pause. And Ethan Cole stood tall, looking at the city they had saved. Cale felt something he had never felt before: respect, awe, and understanding. Humans were dangerous because they refused to give up. They were unpredictable, fearless in ways no machine or army could measure. They fought not for themselves alone, but for each other. That was why even the gods, the legends, and the greatest empires trembled at the thought of humans. That night, Cale sat quietly outside the command post. The city was silent, except for the occasional fire burning in the ruins. He thought about everything he had seen: the courage, the selflessness, the teamwork, and the hope. Humans were not perfect. They were hurt, weak, and scared at times, but they never stopped. Cale closed his eyes and felt a calm certainty. He would fight with humans, learn from humans, and survive because of them. He understood fully now why humans were feared, not because they were invincible, but because they would never surrender. Over the next few days, the humans rebuilt their defenses. Cale worked alongside them, helping carry supplies, patch walls, and guard their positions. He could see the way they encouraged each other, shared their strength, and never let anyone be left behind. One evening, Ethan Cole called the soldiers together. "You fought well," he said. "We survived because we trusted each other, because we never gave up. Remember this. Remember why humans fight." Cale looked around at the humans. He felt a deep connection. He was no longer an outsider. He had learned the lesson the Empire never taught. Humans were more than soldiers. They were unstoppable. When the Empire forces tried to return, they found a city that would not fall. Humans defended it with every ounce of strength, strategy, and courage they had. Cale fought beside them, and together they forced the Empire to retreat. After the battle, Cale walked through the ruins with Noah Turner and Emma White. "You have taught me much," Cale said quietly. "I understand now why humans survive, why even the gods tremble at the thought of you." Noah smiled. "We are not perfect," he said. "We are just willing to fight for each other." Cale nodded. He had seen the truth with his own eyes. Humans were fearless, not because they lacked fear, but because they acted despite it. They were strong, not because of weapons or machines, but because of their spirit. That night, Cale looked at the stars above. He thought about the battles. The Empire had sent him to conquer, but humans had taught him a far greater lesson. Humans were a force that could not be broken. Even the strongest armies, the greatest machines, and the mightiest gods could not crush them. They would rise again and again, no matter the odds. Cale understood now, and he knew he would never forget. Humans fought with heart, with loyalty, and with courage. They were fearless in ways the universe had never seen, and that made them unstoppable. For Cale, the lesson was clear. Fighting with humans had changed him forever. He would carry their spirit, their courage, and their determination wherever he went. He had learned why the gods still tremble. Humans would survive. Humans would rise. And Cale would fight with them, as one of them, forever.